Well, rain stopped play this morning, and it's good really because we've had an ingenious idea for the dovecot to stop. We've been having a problem with leakage, and then it actually got to the stage where a storm damage. So we were back to square one with it. So the more rain we get, I won't be popular, but it will test to see whether that's worked or not. The other thing is I'm quite pleased about yesterday. I can't really see it, but I got a hawthorn stuck in the back of my hand. Wow, massive reaction last night. Couldn't even move my fingers. So yeah, I think it's time to have a little rest, and we'll perhaps look a little bit about what the back history to the property again. But doesn't a day make a difference? Look how green the grass is looking. Now this is the bit I'm keeping, and this is going to be my garden. This is a lot of the reclaim again. I'm going to make veg beds. Love a little greenhouse. That's my mini orchard over there. And I'd also love a summer house and a really pretty garden. So days like today are planning days, and that's what we're going to be doing. Well, it's back in my cardigan today. All that lovely rain, it's just not stopped. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the story and how it went on. The sale was still going through. I didn't have the planning permission in place. In fact, I was coming up against quite a lot of opposition, even though it was just a change of use. My local friendly councillor didn't want me to have it. So it was a little bit of a battle. That's one thing I can definitely say. I'd also got to fence all the property off to separate the farm and the actual stable block itself, the barn. And getting quotes in for that was just shocking. I just had no idea how much money was involved in that. So I did the first, the most important one, which was from the roadside down, the first run through, and I was very lucky. I met a chap at a car boot. He was advertising his fencing business, and his quote was so much more competitive than everybody else, and they came and did an amazing job. So I will put Jan's details when I do my little video at the end. The caravan I managed to get sorted because the back of the stable block, with it having the planning permission for holiday cottages, some drainage had already been put in for the sewerage, so I was able to tap the caravan into that. The electric, they were really good about coming and getting that utility put on quite quickly, and a friend with a local business came and did the digger work for that, so that was quite straightforward. But the water and applying for the water and the sewerage, the online forms I found really difficult. So I actually ring up and get an awful lot of help with filling those in and put that process in place, because everything costs thousands, and I think this is one of the most eye-opening things. It didn't matter how much I budgeted or how much I thought I got contingency plans. Things that I thought were going to cost a couple of thousand nearly and always ended up costing 3 times as much, especially things with the utilities. So that was quite a tricky one. My son, luckily, bless him, had gone to uni. He'd just started uni, so I wasn't as worried about him being homeless. It's one thing myself being homeless, but putting your son homeless as well. My cat thought it was amazing, because when I packed everything up at the old farmhouse, he just thought the boxes were just for him and everything was to his benefit. He was amazing. He'd only literally come to live with me months before, and I was really worried it was going to upset him again, because he was an old cat that had been abandoned, and I was just thinking, what on earth was I going to do? And he loved it. He just took everything in his stride and took over everywhere, wherever we were. He just thought it was great and benefited him, so I didn't have to worry about him either. One of the other things I found interesting that I hadn't considered was, because it was part of an old property, it still had to be registered in its new name, and you have to apply to the council and the post office. I didn't even know that you had to buy your own dustbins. They even charge you to drop them off, so I did go and pick those up just to save some money there. But yeah, and that you pay full council tax for the benefit of living in a caravan. That was interesting too. So yeah, I look at my 3 bins out there, and with it just being me and living in just such a, I suppose it's quite a simple life I have, I very rarely put out the bins when they come. So you just think, crumbs, all that money you have to pay. Anyway, I'm digressing. But yeah, to register the property, so what was I going to call it? Looking back, I looked at all the incarnations it had had. Obviously, we knew it was part of the coach house and stables to the house next door. When my great-grandfather and my dad had it, it used to have the old Massey, the tractors. One end of it was used for storing potatoes and the old chitting trays. You have to say that really carefully. Chitting is when they put potatoes in the dark, so they chit, so they grow sprouts, if you like, so they're used as seed potatoes. I actually nearly convinced my son that I was going to call it the chitting shed, but it's look a horror when you imagine having to give your address over the phone. No, it was also in the old days it was stables for the shy horses on the farm as well. So that really got me thinking about it's kind of the end of the cycle for the farm, and it was not going to be a working farm anymore. So I ended up calling it Shire's Rest, because to me it was for the winding down, the end, the rest for the Shires when they're finally retired. And being the Shire stables there, it just seemed apt to me, and thankfully it was passed, and after I'd paid my money I was allowed to register the name. So that was really interesting. And all the time this is going on, I question regularly, am I doing the right thing? And every time I thought about that, a rainbow appeared. It would be over the caravan or over the farm, and it just made me smile. And even now to this day, when I'm worrying about things, you see a rainbow and it's just, to me it's like a little bit of confirmation. I know it's probably, a lot of people won't believe that, but that's how it works for me. Then my next little battle was to get a phone line on, because there was no signal, so getting broadband was impossible. So I couldn't get online. My job is I work and I sell online, I buy and sell. So not being able to do that was really frustrating. BT kept setting out so many different people. We live in a little village, it's quite hard to get things like this sorted. So yes, having no phone and no signal, and then eventually moving into the caravan, it was a bit scary and feeling very vulnerable, because caravan was literally out in the field, if you like. There's a footpath that goes across the bottom and a road where you can be seen quite clearly from. So yeah, I did find that quite scary to begin with. And it was also very interesting listening to the traffic, and also being able to hear everything, the birds, the rain on the roof. It was a bit like living in a tin can, but it was still, I was so grateful to have a roof over my head. Yeah, so water at the time, that was still coming from next door on a hose pipe to the caravan, and they were my neighbours. The people that actually bought the farm were lovely and let me keep it on for a few months till I managed to get the water sorted. Because within that next month, the 23rd of March, was the first lockdown in the UK. So the people that were going to come and do quotes for the build, you name it, absolutely everything, it came to a complete halt. And so there I was in my new little caravan in my field, all ready and all excited, thinking, yes, we can get on with things now. And it all stopped. So we'll continue the rest of this another day. Bye.